What's going on, everyone, and happy Tuesday. The S&P 500 has been green for 15 out of the past 17 weeks, which is the longest winning streak since 1989. On top of that, we are seeing a lot of stocks move in some pretty crazy ways. Last week, everything to do with AI and chip stocks were blasting to the moon. I'm looking at you, NVIDIA. And yesterday we saw a bunch of crazy, euphoric, bullish price action with the cryptocurrency stocks. And today we are looking at weight loss stocks. Weight loss stocks have been absolutely ripping to the upside over the past year. Looking at ticker symbol NVO and LLY has been absolutely insane as the Ozempic / Wegovy craze has just been continuing on and on and on. And today we had some crazy news with VKTX where the stock jumped by 120% in a day. And one lucky trader made a small fortune off this. So stick with us all the way to the end. We have a lot of great plays for tomorrow, important things to know going forward, and other things you will want to know as the week goes on. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, the market was pretty wild today. The S&P 500 actually started trading lower at the beginning, continued low throughout most of the day, and then actually ran up through the highs of pre-market, re-breaking above that 507 resistance at market close. So heading into tomorrow, there's quite a few stocks pointing back to the upside. I know Apple is moving up with some news as well, but like you said, these weight loss drug companies are going nuts. And VKTX specifically, it's not every single day that you see a stock up 121%. That is a pretty rare thing to see out there. I know that we've been seeing it a little bit lately, or just high percentages out of a few of these wild stocks, but still, this is a huge move, Mike. They obviously have positive weight loss drug news, and whenever I, just see these types of stocks moving 120% plus, you have to look at them, right? That short-term volatility will be there, and those options are going bananas right now.
To say the least, Tom. I was looking on Wall Street Bets, of all places today, and I saw this crazy post where it turns out this guy got laid off, he got a severance, and he decided to basically put his entire severance into VKTX call options. And from what I read, it seems like he put around like 25,000 or so into these call options. And after today's move, that 25,000 or so is now up to around $630,000. So I guess I can never say I'm surprised when I look on Wall Street Bets. So there's always someone out there who goes, you know what? Let me just dump my entire severance pay into some random stocks options.
Yeah, seriously. And whenever I start to look at VKTX, it's like, man, like it's so wild. And this guy's story was insane. He's been following it for a long time. He's been trading it for a while. I think he said since like 2016. Yeah, 2016 on here. That's pretty insane. And then he's, been following the weight loss drugs, other events that they've been doing, decided to dump it all in. I mean, to make that amount of money off of just like 25K is nuts. Like 631,000 now is insane. And I'm not really surprised, right? These stocks can go nuts. If you gamble on these and you do happen to win, you can end up getting some pretty big gains sometimes. But then again, a lot of times these therapeutic companies trade very, very low. So, don't try to necessarily pick out the next weight loss drug stock, right? Definitely wait for the move to happen. But whenever I see VKTX here, Mike, I think there's opportunity into tomorrow. It closed up around the high of day and it's sitting right around $90. Like, will this hit 100 and start to break out tomorrow? It just might. But man, I'll tell you what, I wish I was that guy throwing that money into there. Or then again, maybe I don't, because you got to be careful when you're putting that much in.
Oh gosh, but yeah, looking at VKTX for tomorrow, it has a lot of momentum right now. So as long as it keeps this constant pressure on its high of day, it can provide some good short-term scalp opportunities. But at the same time, the stock is up quite a bit already. So it's like if the stock is weak tomorrow, don't feel the need to force a trade with it. It's like only trade it if it's providing good opportunity, and you'll know if it's providing good opportunity if it keeps constant pressure on that high of day and strong bullish volume continuously flows in. As we said throughout the video so far, there's been a bunch of hype with the weight loss industry over the past year. Some crazy news is ticker symbol NVO is the company behind Ozempic and Wegovy, and basically this company is based in Denmark, and this I guess you could say bubble with the weight loss drugs has gotten so big that this individual company is now worth more than the entire Denmark economy. So that, like, imagine like if some like pharmaceutical company in the United States got so big that it was worth more than the United States GDP, right? That is the situation here. So keep a close eye on these ones going forward. This industry has been pretty crazy.
And Mike, whenever I hear this, I don't know if that's more of a hit on the Danish, on Denmark, or if that's a better thing for, Novo, right? Because it's like, man, like, how are you worth more than a country? Like, that's, and I could see it if it was like a real small country or something like that. I know Denmark's not huge, but like, that's still a pretty insane stat. And I saw even like Goldman Sachs said that these weight loss drugs could add $1 trillion to the U.S. economy over a few years. I mean, that's a pretty insane statement. So to say that there's, number one, a lot of analysts, and number two, just a lot of good volume flowing into here is a great thing to see. And I don't know if it will really add $1 trillion to the economy or not, but man, these stocks are wild. Like whenever you zoom out on NVO, Mike, and you go back to like the end of 2022 to that low point to where it is now, up like 160%. It's no NVIDIA, but it's starting to definitely get up there.
No doubt. So capitalize off of this bubble in the short term with scalps. Just don't get caught holding the bag when the tide turns. But shifting back into the overall market, as I said a couple minutes ago, the S&P 500 right now is currently in the middle of one of its best uptrends since 1989, as 15 out of the past 17 weeks have been in the green. We have not seen action like this for a while. Tom, looking at SPY right now and the overall market, what are you seeing in terms of technicals for the short term?
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly a lot of technicals that have been playing very well lately. This morning, we started bouncing off that huge 507 resistance. We actually fell below it end of day yesterday and continued to fall below there this morning, running down pretty close to that 504.50 support before bouncing back up. Now, heading into tomorrow, we're opening up just above 507, or we're set to based on the current price. If we see the market running up, you need to be careful of this 508.50 resistance overhead. This is going to be a big spot. There's been multiple rejections there over the past few days, but if the market's able to clear that, we might start to come up to that 510 level again and get back towards that all-time high. So I am watching these resistances overhead, but heading into market close today, the S&P 500 was looking pretty solid. So until we start to break back under 507, I don't think I'm going to be overly bearish. But then again, we might wake up tomorrow and see a nice move back down under there, and that might be an advantageous play. And, if that happens, don't target like 500 or anything like that. That's much too far away. I would look at these closer supports like 504.50 and then 503.50.
All right, sounds good, and good stuff there, Tom. And while most of the hype and attention lately has been with stocks like NVIDIA, SMCI, and a couple others, it's time to circle back to one of the old reliable stocks, and that is Apple. So believe it or not, Apple actually had a decent move intraday today as they announced that they are canceling their plans to build an electric car. So basically, since 2014, Apple has been like secretly trying to build an all-electric car, but they pulled the plug today, Tom. They're done.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I think it's actually a good thing that they're doing this. I will say this, it's a very difficult landscape to get into. Whenever you're looking at just automobiles in general, that entire sector is difficult to get in. Look at Tesla, all the stuff that they've been going through. Look at Rivian, look at Lucid, look at NIO. I mean, all these companies are having a ton of trouble getting going in the short term. So I don't blame Apple for scrapping this, Mike. They should stick to what they're good with, right? And that's phones and other tech like that, like laptops, maybe even these new headsets coming out. If they stick with that and they make those the best that they can, I think they'll be just fine for the long term. I think that they're starting to realize that getting into too much stuff might be a little bit of a negative, right? Leave that up to the car companies. Just keep Apple Play going. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Apple CarPlay, right? That's actually pretty convenient. But yeah, I think Apple does a lot of things well, but I don't know if an all-electric vehicle is one of those things. So I'm not really too surprised to see this news come out, and I agree with you, Tom. I don't think it's gonna hurt Apple at all. So either way, keep a close eye on this one, because when this news came out, the stock started to move in a pretty good way. If we can see a break of that like 180 for maybe like $183.80. If we see a break above that area, this stock can run as long as the market is holding up just fine as well.
Yeah, I think it could, and it had a lot of good volatility off that. Whenever we zoom out, it just so happened to be right on that key 180 support as well. It is not broken under the support for a few weeks. We can zoom out here, and I mean, man, like there are so many hits off of this lower support. So keep Apple on the radar. It's moving well off support. It has some good news in the short term, and I'm kind of glad that they're doing this. Like we said, they probably would have made a decent car, if they could have done it right. But at the end of the day, it just takes so much to get that going. So I'm not trying to like knock Apple for that, but they're doing great today, and hopefully tomorrow they can keep that momentum going, because I think that's part of the reason why SPY had such a good close today.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Tom, we can't forget about the earnings for tomorrow, so fill us in.
Yeah, tomorrow's the big day, and after hours we have Marathon. With all the Bitcoin news and hype lately, you gotta watch out for them. There's some Bitcoin miners there. We have Snowflake, Salesforce, which is CRM, and AI in after hours. I don't even want to mention the A word, AMC, but they are also reporting. I will say this, though. Snowflake and Salesforce will probably be pretty important tomorrow, being that they're more in that tech/AI industry.
Tom, you're lucky it's February of 2024. If it was February of 2021, if you would have said, if you would have talked about AMC in a negative way like you just did, you would have got burned at the stake. So you made it out okay this time, but we'll see what happens with that one. That stock has been down in the dumps lately, but a lot of these earnings stocks have been moving in some pretty good ways lately. Zoom had a decent move. HIMS had a decent move. Beyond Meat is having a decent move in after hours as well. And, even NVIDIA last week just absolutely crushed it. So these earnings stocks have been on fire, so keep that in mind. But also, I do want to point this out for tomorrow. We do have GDP data releasing 1 hour before the market opens, so pay attention to that. And then on Thursday before market open, that'll be the most important event of the week, as we have PCE data set to release, which is just like inflation data, and it'll definitely move the market. So just keep that in mind for the next day or so.
Yeah, definitely. And, going back to Beyond Meat, Mike, holy, what is going on? It's up like 100% in after hours right now. So maybe this will be the new VKTX tomorrow. I don't know, but it's fun to see this. We're having the good earnings moves. We're going to have some big economic data coming out. So, don't be surprised if the market moves a little bit in pre-market over the next couple days, and really watch that SPY. If it starts to trend down a lot in pre-market, it might not make for the best open.
All right, Tom. Well, it's now about that time for some setups for tomorrow. A stock I'm watching pretty closely right now is Google to the downside. It had a really tough day yesterday, and it held up fine today. It just consolidated more than anything else. But if we see a break below that like $137.50 area, maybe you could even stretch it down to like $137.10. I think this one can definitely fall more. Like I said, it was very weak on Monday, and it's just holding up just a little bit right now. So if we see that bottom fall out, I think things can get pretty nasty.
Yeah, I do too. That was a bad move yesterday, and a lot of these big tech stocks have been showing a lot of weakness in the short term. And whenever we look at Google, I actually went to Bookmap, Mike, and I noticed there were a few huge levels on Google in the short term. Overhead, there's big resistance at 140. It's been failing to break out above that. If it continues to stay under there, I could see more selling pressure. And then that big support, like you mentioned, around 137 is going to be major. If it breaks under there, there's like 90,000 or 80,000 shares stacked up there end of day. So if that breaks, then go ahead and look at that support for a downside move. But I really like the setup, Mike, and Bookmap here is looking fire.
Big time. Guys, Bookmap is like X-ray vision for the stock market. It's awesome. It shows you exactly where the hidden buy and seller orders are at. Lucky for everyone, StockedUp viewers do get a discount. So if you use the first link in the description in the comments down below, you will save. If you haven't already tried out Bookmap, I definitely recommend it. It's something out there that I think everyone should try at least at some point in their trading career.
Yeah, they definitely should. And with my next play, Mike, I'm going after Bank of America. They had a great move today, up to like 34.50, 34.45. If they can break that high of day, I will look for a continuation. I love the way it consolidated up there, and I'll be looking for that support to hold around 34.15. So watch these banks up. They started to recover back today, which was nice to see.
All right, good stuff. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Zoom, ticker symbol ZM. This one popped up nicely on earnings, but it still is down a little bit from its highs in pre-market. I would love to see this one get back to like the $70 area. If it can hold above that area and just keep somewhat constant pressure on that high of day, I think this one can go for an earnings run, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see this one retest the like $74 area over the next couple weeks, as long as the buying pressure stays strong. But either way, this is a stock that has been down in the dumps for quite a while now, and this earnings report is really like the first glimpse of hope that this stock has had in quite a while, and a lot of volume is coming in as well, which is a good sign.
Yeah, that's really good. Starting to break some good trends as well, and I like it for the long term and the short term. So I'll keep watching it for continued breakouts coming in tomorrow. With my final play, I'm looking at Palantir. I know this is a fan favorite. A lot of people love trading Palantir in after hours. It's actually breaking above recent resistance. If it can get above 24.80 tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and look at more calls of the upside. In after hours, it's running. It's starting to break that high of day and recent resistance. So let's go Palantir. It's continuing that nice run.
Beautiful. All right, well, it's now about that time for the momentum plays, and with today's first one, we have Penn to the upside.
Yeah, ticker symbol PENN, Penn Gaming. I really like this today. I thought it was well up into resistance. There's a big resistance around like 1765, but tomorrow, if it can break like 1780, then I'll look for a nice continuation up.
All right, with the next one, we have Norwegian Cruise Lines also to the upside.
This is like an earnings continuation play. All these cruise lines were on fire today. They're up 19%. If they can break 1920 tomorrow morning, then look for a push up to around 20, but just watch 1920. That's a nice overhead level.
All right, and then with the last one, we have the beast, Meta, but for both directions.
Yeah, they are a beast in the short term here. If they can end up breaking 488, then go ahead and look at calls back to the upside. That's right around recent resistance. If they end up pulling under support today around 486, then go ahead and look at puts.
All right, so we have the downside level for puts, and we have the upside level for calls. This is for Meta. Don't forget about the levels on Norwegian Cruise Lines and then Penn National Gaming as well. These three stocks are on watch for potential day trades tomorrow. Only if they break the levels Tom listed. We want to see strong breakthroughs of the levels Tom listed and then continuations in those directions. So keep a close eye on these three for tomorrow, but it's also about that time for today's $1.17 million big money trade of the day. And we are looking at ticker symbol PTON, otherwise known as Peloton, or the subscription coat rack company of 2020. But looking at Peloton, basically the big money is taking a pretty big bet with this one, as it put we'll call it $1.2 million into the Peloton 10 strike call options that expire on December 19th. And this one goes way out, of 2025. So these options have a ton of time to them. They are decently far out of the money, but given how volatile the stock is and how much time there is to these options, it's not crazy far out of the money. Again, this stock is very volatile, and basically what we're seeing right here is the big money bullish on Peloton. This trade is a very high risk, very high reward setup. This company has been struggling quite a bit since 2021, and if they can turn things around or at least have some decent improvements, then the stock can definitely make a move higher. But at the same time, that is a big if. Peloton has been down in the dumps for years now, and they're kind of at the point right now where they have to, like, adapt or die, right? So it's like, if you're willing to take the risk and you're willing to give this one the time it needs, then this setup, can be worth taking. But again, it's just one of those setups that, needs time to play out.
Man, it really does. If they long these options and then we see Peloton start running up, that is going to be one of the most lucrative big money plays I think I've seen in a long time, Mike. Like, if this one starts to really explode, like, man, these options could be insane. At the same time, though, it's so far out of the money, it does worry me a little bit. They might be shorting it or something like that. But either way, Peloton's a crazy stock. It's extremely volatile, like you mentioned. If it ran up to $10, nobody would really bat an eye, right? Like, the way that this thing moves is just insane. It fell from 10 down to 5 within just a couple weeks, honestly. So whenever I look at this stock, it's pretty volatile. This has a lot of time to it, though. If you do trade this, you're going to have to give it a lot of time, right? And that's what makes me think that they might be longing it, Mike, is that much time. Because at the same time, it's like, man, it's the 10 strike calls. Over time, I would think that Peloton would start to get their act together. Now, at the same time, that doesn't mean that their business will succeed, but they've been trying, right? They've done TikTok deals, and they've been trying to, get their business to grow a little bit, but they just can't get that hype going.
Yeah, one way to play a setup like this is just to, like, keep it on your watch list, and if at any point you start to see the stock rise in a rapid way, or you see big news with it or anything like that, that can act as the green light to follow the big money. And worst case scenario, the stock never pops up and you never end up trading it. But the best case scenario is you have it on your watch list. One day some big news comes out or the stock starts to move in a meaningful way. You already know in the back of your mind that, the big money has been pretty bullish on this one, so that can give you that, like, extra confidence when looking at it. But either way, it's a crazy stock, so keep a close eye on it going forward. But Tom, we can't move forward anymore until we give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Mike F. in the StockedUp trading floor. He said it's the first time posting, and he basically said he's been a member for a little bit of time, and he had a really good day today. So keep up the great work, Mike. It's awesome to see days like this, and keep that risk in check, and keep on rolling.
Yeah, let's go, Mike. That's awesome. That was a great game. Keep up the fantastic work. And yeah, let's keep going, Mike. I love to see posts like this. And today was awesome. There were a lot of great posts throughout the Discord. So keep it up, guys. The past couple weeks have been awesome. Good job to everybody taking advantage of all this great movement that's been going on.
There we go. And if you are new to the channel or you're new to StockedUp, consider demolishing that subscribe button. And if you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. We post all the time. We go over important earnings, important economic data events, and we cover everything you need to know about the stock market. And most of the videos are 20 to 25 minutes long. Sometimes we're kind of funny, sometimes we're not, but we just focus on providing great content every day. So consider joining the StockedUp crew and demolishing that subscribe button. But besides that, I am pretty excited for the rest of the week. We have PCE data coming out on Thursday. We're seeing a lot of stocks move in some pretty crazy ways. And Tom, the market is still basically right at all-time highs. So I think this week will be a good one.
Yeah, and don't forget about those weight loss drugs. I'm going to have to maybe get myself some Ozempic after all these great moves lately because I haven't been wanting to leave my seat watching all these great moves in the market. So I might have to pick up some. But either way, guys, keep watching these stocks. They're going crazy and keep following that momentum. There's been some great moves over the past couple of weeks, and it's awesome to continue to see those great posts everywhere.
Alrighty, well, thank you all so much for watching. And besides that, let's have an amazing rest of the week.